Okay, there we go. All right. Coolest guy. Hey, Waylon Krantz. How's it going, guys? Welcome to my stream. We're painting some Night Lords. My goal by the end of the stream is to get these guys, all 10 of them, at least with their base coats finished. Nice. The Midget Hobbit. Yo, what's said is that these are Night Lords Countercard Terminators, or they were. The base for them is the Countercard Terminators, but some of them have some, I guess, modifications, some conversions that my client has already done before he sent me the miniatures. 30k Night Lords, Forge World Resin Terminators. Yes, Countercard Terminators, Primaris Librarian. That's right. Gonna finish painting my room tomorrow, hopefully. Very cool. Coolest guy. Yeah, so these are for a client. I think this is one of the closest things. His whole thing was that he wants his miniatures to look different from other Countercard Terminators. So this might be one of the only ones that are that's pretty close to what the Forge World original design is. Bonjour! The rest of these are, some of them are not too heavily converted. Most of them have the Night Lords shoulder pads. But yeah, he sent them to me. Most of them were built. Some of them I had to kind of cobble together with what I had. The pieces that he had lent me, or that he had given me, and then now we're just putting some paint on them. I'm thinking I'll do a little more work on these guys. If I can get most of it done on the stream, that'd be really great. I want to have them finished so that I can hand them over to him. Get paid, son. Yeah, we're celebrating Warhammer 30k Horus Heresy because today is Saturnine release day. Nothing beats a Night Lord with a Power Claw. The sword is giving you Doom vibes. Yeah, there are a lot of great looking swords. Some of these are the ones that come in the Countercard set, and some of them I like kind of kit bashed and converted. This is one really good one. I don't know where this sword is from, but it looks so characterful. Like they all have these big honking Volkite guns, and then a lot of them have different other weapons. These weapons are Volkite or plasma. I think they're Volkite. So the Volkite ones, I had to look them up because I didn't know how to paint them. And it looks like these coils, which would normally be like plasma coils, which you would paint white and then glowing, they're actually like a gold, copperish brass tone. And then this here at the front, the barrel is all, this is the finished one, is also going to be like a goldish brass tone. So that's what they look like when they're all finished, all painted up. Where did you get them? They have been sold out forever. You know, I was lucky enough to have these given to me by my client for this commission, but I have also found some that were not too exorbitantly priced on eBay. Sometimes you're lucky if you could find them on eBay, and I was fortunate enough that every time I've gone, I was able to find them. I always like to promote my friend Binks Wargaming. He so what he does is he has this shop, or he doesn't have this shop, but he works at a shop in Texas, and he's able to do like trade-ins for lots of like collector's items, like Necromunda Forge World stuff, and these old Forge World miniatures. And one of the regular guys that comes in has a ton of this Forge World stuff. So he'll give him store credit in exchange for getting them. So he gets them at a pretty good price, and then he flips them around and puts them on eBay. But he also is able to work out with anybody who asks him, hey, do you have any Forge World Warhammer 30K White Scars stuff? And then he'll check, and I've been able to get a pretty good working relationship with him. So his name is Binks Wargaming on eBay. If you find him and you start asking him, hey, what's up with these 30K Forge World Night Lords, then just let him know you heard about him from me. Binks, B-I-N-X. Hello, Go For It Painting, welcome. Oh, okay, Waylon, thanks. The Parsword might be from the Blood Angels or the Assault Intercessors with jump packs. Oh, Blood Angels, okay. Have a great paint job. Larry McSteve. I love these miniatures, like the original Kantakar set. Without even doing all of these conversions, the Kantakar set is just so much fun, but it's festooned with lots of details and bits, and it's easy to get overwhelmed. That's the word I want to look for. Not discouraged, but it's easy to be overwhelmed by how much there is to paint. You've got the Cataphracti variant armor already, whereas it's Tartaros. This looks more like Tartaros. The base plate is like, yeah, Tartaros. Tartaros Terminator armor. And then on top of that, you've got all this flayed skin. And then most of them are covered in like chains with hooks and skulls and bones and all the usual Night Lords nonsense. So when you want to paint up a squad of these guys, you're looking at a lot of extra little work, like these chains here. So what I've done, I've just released a video on my process for batch painting, especially if you're doing models like these that have lots of little bits, but you want to batch paint them in one go. I've broken them down into steps, right? What do I need for all of my base coats? So I've got the colors that I'm using for all of my base coats, just about. If there's any I've missed, I can come back to them. And then I put them in order, right? So my armor colors, Night Lord's Blue, Cantor Blue is going to be right here next to me. And then, just like bullets in a magazine or a clip for a gun, I just go down the row and have all of the colors that I use. So I'm at the phase right now where I'm doing the silver, but before this, I did all of the flayed flesh. So that's this. Then right now I'm on the silver, so this would be next in line. And then I just line them up like this. After this, I'm going to be doing the bone, and then red. And this is just base coat, so I'm not doing my shades or anything like that. And then, of course, the remaining gold trim. I'm going to take all of these paints, line them up like this, right here on my left, in order. And I'm just going to paint, have all of the miniatures that I'm going to be working on, only this step. So I'm not going to worry about anything else, because it's easy to get overwhelmed. You get painting on one thing and you finish, and you're like, oh, okay, oh, I might as well jump onto this next part, the bone. Or, oh, I might as well jump onto the silver and the gold. Makes sense, well, I'll do that next. But it's easy to get stuck in the weeds, and you might get a lot done with one miniature, but then you get the rest of the squad that you haven't even put a dent in yet. So this is my system, and it works really, really well. Hey, Peter, P3ter. Greetings from Slovenia, boss. Are you glad that Warhammer Fantasy Battle is resurrected? Yes, Zoran Graj, I am. I am very, very happy that Warhammer Fantasy has gotten a new life with the old world. I'm very, very happy. I've had this Bretonnian battalion box that's been sitting around in my to-do pile forever, and it's given me a reason to get back to it. You know, I've had this theory, and I think, let me know what you guys think. I think it's pretty valid that Warhammer The Old World really appeals to older, let's do this skull and silver and then gold for the rim, older gamers who have like large collections of models that maybe they don't want to sell off or get rid of. So Games Workshop has made this game, The Old World, and they've kind of resurrected the Warhammer Fantasy ranges. But it's weird because, you know, with they made a whole new army, the Grand Cathay, right? But most of the people I know that play Old World really love the classic armies. They want to play their Empire and their the dwarfs. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Was it too much for them to introduce a whole new army with all these new miniatures, or do you think it was cool and it kind of like invigorates and makes the game more open and inclusive to new players? That's the only reason that I could think that they did it. Like, we want to attract the Warhammer Age of Sigmar crowd. Yeah, this sword is so awesome. This sword looks so cool. If you guys have a good time hanging out with me tonight and you are thinking about supporting me, then I would love to have you. Of course, I've got my super chats and super stickers open, and a super chat is always nice, but if you want to support me and my work in the long term, then I hope you consider becoming a channel member. and that will give you access to all of my digital downloads on my Discord, paint habit trackers, calendars, recipe cards, and all that. But also, it'll give you the chance to participate in my, like I do a lot of channel member only polls on my YouTube channel. Like I make a lot of posts kind of asking, what should I work on? Or what should I do tonight on the live stream? Or what should I do for my next series of videos? And it'd be great to have more people join just so I could have more votes and more people taking part in that part of my channel growth. I've got a lot of, man, it's funny that Warhammer 30K is so like promoted right now with the new game and the new edition and everything, because I have so much Forge World Horus Heresy miniatures that mostly I got from Binks Wargaming, but that have been collecting dust, and I've been wanting to paint them, and I haven't had the motivation to until now. So let's paint them up. Everything you want to paint, let's paint it up in the in your backlog. Everything in your piles of shame. This is the time to do it. We've got our Grey Crusade now. If you want to take part in our Grey Crusade, it's our painting challenge going on now until the end of August, where you can join us in our goal is to paint 5,000 miniatures worldwide. And we're not even at 2,000 yet. So we're gonna have a big push come August to try and get as many people to join as possible, because I know you've got miniatures to paint. So you can join on the Discord, see how it works, how you wanna, if you wanna join, paint along, or just work on your own thing. We have so many new people joining the Discord every day, taking part in the challenge. And yeah, I'd love to have you guys. I actually think Tartaros armor is really nice. It looks so good and clean. It looks like a little baby Contemptor Dreadnoughts, because they have the bathtub-shaped body. Only old world, only old school. That's right, Zoran, me too. Hey, Halo Guy 3, welcome. Only old world. I'm a purist, man. I don't think I could start to collect a Cathay army. I like my old world miniatures looking old and outdated. It's funny, I think some of the Empire stuff still hold up, you know? Like, I love the old Empire miniatures. I love them so much that every once in a while, I keep toying with the idea of doing a series if I can get the miniatures again, because I don't think I have enough to do it. I want to do a tour of the Empire. If I can get my hands on an Empire battalion, boy howdy. I've got the book right here next to me. Uniforms and Heraldry of the Empire. Oh, it's glorious. Look at that artwork. Old school, baby. In fact, if we zoom out a little bit, if you're not familiar with this, it goes and breaks down each of the city-states, gives you examples for shield work, shield designs, if you want to freehand those, because I don't think the old designs had a lot of these symbols. Like, look at those cross keys, or this tree one here. Fantastic. And then gives you ideas for like the color schemes here for all of them, all the troops. Some great stuff. Every once in a while I'll flip through it and get inspired, and then realize I have so much other stuff I gotta paint first. That's one of the reasons why I started why I wanted to do this gray Crusade for the summer because summertime is here. It's a great time to paint miniatures. I've got a huge pile of shame that needs painting. Speaking of Doom Swords, look at this. Holy cow. What the heck? I think this was like a huge kit bash of like a bunch of different swords. A bunch, maybe like two. One or two maybe. My client is very, he's very much interested in miniatures that look unique. So he's like, I don't want them to look like the product page on Forge World. I want them to have their own character and flair. And I respect that. That used to be me with my orcs and goblins. Like, I didn't want anybody to have an army that looked like mine. So what I did with my night goblins was I imagined that they had successfully raided a dwarven kingdom. So all of the night goblins had like dwarven helmets on top of their heads, or they're holding the mugs of dwarven beer. I used the dwarf hands that are holding the mugs. Man, that was so much fun painting those up. One interesting thing about these Kantakar Terminators, these Night Lords Terminators have these these shards of silver metal like coming out of their leg armor. And they are a pain in the butt to paint, but I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be silver because they look like they were grafted onto their legs, like these serrated pieces of metal. I'm gonna have to clean some of that up. I always say when doing this technique, like, don't go back, keep going forward, don't clean up. But I think if the mistake is bad enough that it's gonna weigh on your mind, then the only thing with cleaning up, this is a pro tip for those of you who are interested in painting, the painting side of our hobby. If you go back and clean up your mistakes, if you continue to keep going back, you're never going to move forward. You're just going to be spinning your wheels where you are. And then you're not going to get anything finished. What's the Legion? I don't know a lot about Warhammer. Night Lords. Yeah, Night Lords, Warhammer 30K. You know what I love about Night Lords is that I'm surprised anybody ever thought that they weren't going to turn traitor. As a Legion, they were all about terror tactics and committing all these like atrocities to force their enemies into surrendering. And the Night Lord's Omnibus goes into all of that, but I thought it was one interesting, the thing I love about them is that, like, yeah, they're obviously villains. They're all murderers and former gang members, and they have like no discipline or loyalty or whatever. But when you consider that their whole purpose was to be this nightmare, right? This thing that was meant to instill fear and terror in the enemy, so that they would be so afraid of the Night Lords coming to visit their planet that they would be extra good, and it would force them. They were used as like boogeymen. It's like, yeah, why wouldn't they turn against the Emperor? They're all wearing the skin of their victims' skulls and all these horrible trophies and everything. That's fascinating to me. If these are your soldiers, then like, what would it look like if they had remained loyal? Good night, thank you, good luck, thank you, Halo guy. Roy, yeah, but Conrad is Batman and the Joker in the same time, so it's okay, that's true. Out of all the Traitor Legions, they changed the least between 30K and 40K. Yep, that's true. Conrad established that fear is the base of any society and it's the only way to have peace. It's interesting, right? Because they all, when you think about the Primarchs, their purpose that they originally had before they were scattered, what was their purpose when they grew up? What did the Empire envision for them? Like they were all given different, or they were all expected to follow different paths and to be like governors or statesmen or builders or warriors or whatever. And then when you consider what Conrad was originally designed to do, like what was his purpose? He wasn't ever going to be like a great warrior or a, you know, the best swordsman or the best warrior of his brothers, or a governor or an empire builder. He's not a builder. Like his whole goal was pretty much to do what he was, what he eventually found himself doing anyway, which was keeping the peace through fear. He makes like a bit of a double with Korax. Yeah, he does. All right, moving on to the bones. Some of these are tricky because between my client and myself, there might be some of these skulls that look a little out of place that have been added. Might be a little too big, or whatever, but I think I'll be okay. We're in the bone step, boys. Bones and skulls and bones. And so many people are like, the Night Lords are just edgy to be edgy, and they're not really that complex or interesting of a legion, because their whole shtick is just how edgy they are, right? But I think there's an interesting depth to them when you consider too. Like I read up on the history of them when I was learning to paint them, and I really wanted to get to know like, well, what drives these guys? Like, why are they the way they are? And originally, the Terran-born Night Lords. Let's do two steps. Let's do the bone, and let's do red, just to give us some color. Conrad is basically everything that could have gone wrong with Sanguinius. Oh, that's a good theory. Novel, Soul Hunter, Blood Reaver, etc. make them really deep. I read somewhere that Angron, his purpose was to be like the mediator, like the peacemaker of his brothers. And I think that's hilarious because he's got these like psychic powers that are like nullify or calm. Somebody read in a story that, oh yeah, he would calm and soothe his gladiator friends between their gladiator matches. That was his thing. All right, bone and blood. And keep up the pace. We want to finish at least all the base coats on these guys by the end of the end of this stream. Another reason why I wanted to do tonight's stream on these guys was because I want to see if you guys are interested in me watching, if you would be interested in watching me paint the new Saturnine box as like one army. If I were to do all of the Marines in the Saturnine box as Night Lords, for example. I seem to be getting a lot of Night Lord fans, which is pretty awesome. And then I thought, like, what other Legion would I not mind painting? Like, I really like painting Iron Warriors. I like painting most of the Legions. I haven't had too much experience painting Alpha Legion or Salamanders, interestingly enough, but what I wanted to do was get a box of the Mark II Marines because I can't quite afford the Saturnine box just yet. I wanted to, but bills were kind of tight this month, so I had to skip out on getting it on launch day. Of course, Games Workshop doesn't think that I'm worthy yet of being a part of their influencer program, so no free box from Warhammer. But if I am able to afford one in the near future, then it would be cool to do. What I would do is take the like tactical Marines and then just do a bunch of videos on painting them as different legions. I think that would be fun. About to start painting my first army, Emperor's Children. Nice. Very cool, Rami. I got a bunch of white paint for you. Breathe a little harder into the mic, please. Oh, I'm sorry. My phone is like right next to me. I'm gonna try not to breathe so hard. Angron being peaceful is definitely part of him long gone. Yep. Have you painted Death Guard? I have. I have painted Death Guard. I'd like to paint some more. I've got a ton of Forge World Grave Wardens, some Death Shroud. Getting jump scared by Night Lords at 4 in the morning. Nice. Don't worry, my Night Lords are friendly. Bonjour. You play Horus Heresy, or is it just for the sake of painting? You know, it's just, this is for the sake of my client. I'm a commissioned painter as well as a YouTuber, and it kind of helps for me to build my skills as a painter. And I actually stopped playing years ago because when we moved from Hawaii, there's a very active local gaming scene. And the store that I used to go to back in Hawaii would have like game nights every week. You could go and chat with like the local players that were all up to date on the game. It was so much fun. And I lost that when I moved to California. I moved to an area that didn't have a very active local gaming scene. So then I just was like, you know what? I'm just to keep painting and to not lose that part of my love of the hobby. I started to advertise myself as a commissioned painter, and so I got some local clients and some clients farther away on the East Coast. It's just not enough to make a good enough living where I can go out and drop $300 on the new Horus Heresy game. But I would love to, man. All the miniatures that you see on social media, all the flippin' influencers that Games Workshop sends their models to for free. I'm like, oh, if only I could be one of those guys. So I gotta blow up my YouTube channel, man. Gotta get some numbers. The only way to do that is to keep on painting, baby. You know what time it is. It's Night Lord's time. What in the chaos scum? Yeah, you know what? It's actually because one of the expenses of moving was really lightened by my putting my models up for sale on eBay. And then what I just did was, if I would sell some stuff on eBay, I would say, hey, I'm trying to start this commission. I would write on the receipt, I'm trying to start this commission painting business. I've been painting Warhammer since I was in middle school, so over like 30 years now. And like, I'm not a Golden Demon award-winning painter, but I feel like I've got a steady hand and enough years of painting under my belt where I can do pretty much whatever I set my mind to. And I think that's a good point to be for anybody. I think we could all paint anything we set our mind to. Whatever you're working on, never get discouraged. There's always a way forward. Like, I never got into, I love these guts. I don't know what they are, but I'm pretty sure they're guts. So I'm gonna paint these red after I paint them bone. I never got into painting with an airbrush, but that's a skill that I wouldn't mind learning. I just don't feel like I could be as precise as I want to be. Like, with a brush, I could pick up one of these golden maple brushes with a fine point, and I could knock out like lightning bolts and freehand words and stuff, and I don't have to spend the time after I'm done painting cleaning up like I would with an airbrush setup. I don't know, but I know a lot of people who swear by it. Other commissioned painters who are like, you gotta get an airbrush. It speeds up the whole process so much. There's no, like, I don't want to go back to ever not using an airbrush. I guess it's like, well, different people have their preferred ways of painting. Hey, the one from the past, hello. Yeah, so join my Discord, guys. I hope you will hang out, and if you're painting and working on anything, hang out in my Discord. I think I kind of skipped painting red for the past couple of minis. We'll go back to that. Let's knock out these bone colors. We are jamming today. This assembly line of Night Lord Kantakar Terminators is jamming. Chumblo paints, doesn't know about tabletop Warhammer, just love the lore. Yep, the lore is great. Space Marine 2 is great. It's a great entry drug, along with Rogue Trader, all of the video games. What do you think is worse, getting captured by word bearers or Night Lords? I would think Night Lords. Great stuff. Thank you, Genghis. Well, I don't know. I finished the Praetor and Centurion. Nice. The one from the past. The one from the past has been in the Discord all day showing progress from the Saturnine box. And it's just got me like, oh, it's so cool. Seeing all of the build process. I love this. Okay, so this guy you see me painting right now, he has so many Grizzly trophies on him. It kind of discouraged me from painting earlier, this exact sculpt. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll not paint Conticars right now. But I want to get these done. So look at all these bones here. He's like Lord of the Flies right here. A skull right at the center. Then a string of bones. Like a big necklace right across his chest. Last guy. 10 of them. Woo! That model is looking cool so far. Any tips for painting orcs? I'm having a bit of trouble. What are you having trouble with, Nurgle? Nurgle Sloppy Seconds. Is it the skin tone? Is it the armor? Is it the clothes? Stuck building the Saturnine so long, so tiring. I know, Roy. Finished building them. Oh, okay, I need to get some more primer. So I have found when I was a new war boss, and I was really into the hobby, not really doing anything for commission yet, just loving the hobby side. I really enjoyed building and assembling my miniatures. I loved converting them, kit bashing them. I loved that part of the hobby so much. Then I found out that as I grew older, I do not enjoy that part of the hobby at all whatsoever. Like, I'll do it, but I would much rather spend my hours at the table painting than gluing together the miniatures, like clipping them out of the frames with my clumsy ogre dad hands, dropping pieces all over the floor, never to be seen again. Like, I don't cherish that anymore. Which is funny because I swear when I was really into the hobby, that part of it was my jam. I love that. Can't believe I forgot to do their bone masks. They all have white bone masks. So that's next. We'll do the red bat wings. Then we'll knock out their bone masks. Give them more color first. If you guys are hobbying anything tonight or working on anything, let me know what you're working on. Red Bull gives you wings. I need to get a case. For me, it's like Conrad. I have visions of my painful future than anything I convert and build. I'll have to paint them. It's hilarious. Like, it's easy to buy them. You feel good when you walk home with them. And then you get home and you're like, why don't we just put this box in the corner on top of the other boxes of miniatures I haven't built or painted yet? So you're going to be getting the Saturnine kit? I want to, yes. The one from the past, I would love to get it. I can't afford it right now, unless I have a huge surge in channel members and super chats. It looks like it might be a little while before I get it, but I really wanted to get it because there's so much content I could be making if I had that box. Like I would be doing painting tutorials and YouTube shorts and everything the algorithm likes. And I talked about it with my lady boss, my wife, and she was like, I just don't think we can make it happen this month. It's like, oh yeah, I'm a dad, and my kids need to eat, and food costs money. So being a dad kind of supersedes everything else. It's kind of why I'm doing this. It's kind of why I want to be a full-time YouTuber / Warhammer painter guy. I think that I'm going to start working on Saturnine tournament. Right on, good. I'm working on painting a Gundam model that I converted into a knight from my death card. Awesome, Waylon Krantz. That's awesome. 50 miniatures. Whoo, boy. I kind of wondered, like, why Saturnine, when they first announced it, you know, like, why that mark of armor? As a painter, as a hobbyist, they just look like bigger Terminators, bigger Dreadnoughts, instead of going over the things that they don't have right now, which was like the Mark II armor, which they did, and the Mark V armor, and redoing some of these older kits. But seeing everybody painting them up, building them and painting them up is like, it's cool. It's really cool. Yeah, I really have. I go online and I look at Twitter or whatever, and I really feel the FOMO. It's like, man, I really wish I could just go out and drop the money and bring home that box, but I just can't make it work with my budget. I gotta really blow up as a YouTuber first. I try not to look at my 20 Dark Fury. Oh, Dark Fury. Do it. Yes. Roy, you gotta do it. You gotta join my Discord. Get them, commit to painting them in the Great Crusade. Get them done by August. Let's do it. Let's destroy our piles of shame. Let's smash through our backlogs. We can do it. I love painting. You know what I love doing with the Dark Fury is doing the wings, doing that transition of color from black to, I think I went with like Incubi Darkness, then up to Dark Reaper as the transition. It looks so nice. Yeah, Dark Reaper, and then I think, did I end up at Rust Gray or Fenrisian Blue? Like just as a super like edge highlight? I think I did. All right, they've got weird little breathing tube things that I don't know if I want to get into yet. We'll just do the bone mask part. I linked my wet palette in this video, guys, if you want to check that out. It's the Army Painter wet palette, and it's really helped me out. I used to do what I call the ghetto wet palette, which I still have fond memories of in my older videos. Just taking like a plastic clamshell from the old plastic clamshell, like plastic figures, and filling the bottom with water, and then laying down some either paper towel or just a straight parchment paper, and that's perfectly fine too. But having a wet palette with a sponge and then 50 sheets of the parchment paper on top to lay on top of it, it's so much better. And as somebody who mainly paints by hand, having a wet palette has really been a game changer. I used to be like, I don't need a wet palette. I'll just pop open my paint pot and put a little bit of water on my brush and then dip it onto the paint and then just kind of swirl it around so I get some wet paint. And there you go. It's the same effect, but no, it's not. Paint out of the pot is like, it looks so horrible because it's so thick. It's hard to work with. It's stubborn. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Why? It's like you're going to go for a run and you purposely put a bunch of pebbles in your shoes. This guy's cape, I don't know where this cape is from. Do any of you know? It's got a bunch of faces on it. I decided to not do the whole thing in skin. I'm doing the top like the Forge World, what's the guy's name? Conrad Kurtz, where you've got the skin at the bottom, and then the top is going to be like fabric, and then I might do like some of the Strawman runes, pretend to do like a trim like Conrad Kurtz's. But I'm interested to know because I don't think my client remembers where he got his cloak from. But it's big spooks. It's spooky. I stayed very dark, like Corvus Black and the Fang mixed to highlight. Nice. Very good. Very good. Corvus Black is such a good color to highlight. I remember when I used to highlight all of my black with a dry brush of Mechanicus Standard Gray. And then Corvus Black came out and I was like, yep, this is it. It's such a good color to highlight black with because it's just a step up and it's darker than Mechanicus Standard Gray. It's darker than Eshin Gray. It really is like the perfect highlight for black. Yeah. One of my favorite units to make proxies for are Demon Princes. I've made two. One using a Dreadnought proxy, and the other one is sculpted from green stuff. Cool. It's a very nice looking skin cape, yep. My client also plays A Song of Ice and Fire, this tabletop game. And he is commissioning me to paint some Greyjoys and Lannisters. So I'm going to be getting those in a couple of weeks. And he talks about it, and he's said he's going to go to like a tournament in Sacramento. And I was like, I didn't even know we had that big of a community here. I bought the starter set when it first came out. I don't even know if there's further editions, but the first edition of A Song of Ice and Fire, the starter set that came with the Lannisters and the Starks. Classic matchup. And I didn't, it's sitting in my garage collecting dust. I haven't even taken it out of the shrink wrap yet. It's terrible. It's so terrible. It's a problem. Okay, so I want to talk to you guys for a second about the Warhammer community article where the Warhammer community staff paints the Traitor Legions. This came out a couple days ago. I was going through the article. It was really nice. I didn't make a video on this because I don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers, but about halfway down, there's an Emperor's Children Mark II unit painted by the staff member named Kat. And I don't know if Kat goes by he or she. I don't want to get into the pronoun thing. Kat usually infers female, but I'm not going to take any guesses. And Like, I don't want to paint shame anybody, because my whole channel, the vibe is that I want everyone to be encouraged to paint and to enjoy the hobby and to not be negative, right? But I was looking at this, at Cat's Army, or Cat's 10 Emperor Children Mark II, and I was like, how did this get past the editor? There's no transfers, no decals, nothing to nothing on the shoulders. The shoulder pads were blank, and the bolters, guys. If you zoom in, if you go to the article and zoom in on the bolters, they look like they were just painted silver. The entire bolter was painted silver, lead belcher, and then washed with known oil, not even highlighted. And everybody on Twitter who's made a post about it has been pretty much, I don't want to say bullied, but they've been made to see that, like, you can't paint shame people. You shouldn't talk bad about someone's paint job. The fact that they painted the unit at all means that their stuff is better than 70% of the people on Twitter who complain about people's paint jobs or whatever, right? And I'm reading all this and I'm like, yeah, that's true. You shouldn't paint shame. We shouldn't make fun of people for their paint jobs. So my feedback when I see something, and if like you look at the bases, the base work, it's like all black, painted rim, and Kat used Argellen earth, and a lot of it got onto the base, onto the rim of the base, and that makes me feel like kind of the ick also, because I like my bases to be clean, the rims to be clean, and then the base work to be like on top of the base, right? Not splattered all over the sides. And I was like, okay, number one, these are Emperor's Children, and their whole shtick was when they weren't completely fall into chaos, was perfection and the pursuit of perfection. And I was like, that's fine if you're not a new painter, or if you are a new painter, if you're not experienced as a painter, if you're still learning and you don't have many painted miniatures under your belt, it doesn't matter that you work for Games Workshop or the Warhammer community team. You could just be, like really good at writing or editing or online producing content, whatever. And maybe you're not like a painter, a miniature painter, and you don't know that bolters have like the casing, which is usually black, and then the silver bits, and then the bolter rounds you can see are usually like a brass or gold color. I think the thing that stuck out in my mind was that I look at Warhammer community articles the way I look at people painting on Twitter. Like, I want to be inspired, right? I want to see something that to me says, oh, that's nice. I want to paint like that. I'm not a new painter. I don't consider myself a great painter. I consider myself able to paint relatively high tabletop quality miniatures, but I don't consider myself to be an award-winning painter. And so I think when I saw this picture sandwiched between an amazing looking Sons of Horus unit and gun, sentry gun, whatever that artillery gun is, and then an Emperor's Children Saturnine dreadnought that looks amazing, my radar went off. I was like, how could this get past the editor? Like, why did they let them publish this? This does not have any, there's no insignia on the shoulder pad. There's no highlighting on the armor. The base work's all sloppy. The gun looks like, the bolter looks like lead belcher, like 4 heavy coats of lead belcher with known oil. And all of these critiques were going off in my brain, right? And then I took a step back and I said, okay, hold on. What if I was a new painter? What if I'm intimidated by what I see? And then here I see this paint job that might be the level of quality that I have. And maybe I'm not there to get inspired by an amazing looking paint job. Maybe I'm on the Warhammer community article because I'm interested in getting the game, and seeing somebody paint at my level is not inspirational, but encouraging. And that's what I took away from it. Like, this is an article. This is a picture of an army that's encouraging to people, and it's not what's the word? It's not meant to be inspiring to people who are already good at painting. It's meant to encourage people who want to get into the hobby, who might not be really good at the painting technique side of it yet. All right, want to get into painting figures, not sure where to start. I would start with just getting a box of miniatures that you like and just painting them up, especially on eBay. Pick up a box for cheap on eBay. Oh, that looks sick. Thank you, Chumblo. All right, my babies are crying upstairs. I'm gonna run upstairs really quick and see if I need to help my wife. But you guys hang out, and hopefully I won't be gone long. If I am, then I'll come back and I'll say goodnight for sure. But yeah, for now, I'm gonna just run upstairs and see if my wife needs help putting the babies back down. Hopefully I can come back to you soon. Au revoir. right, players, I am back. Welcome back to the stream. Hoo-ha! Ghosty, painting Night Lords right now, right on. I always see Necrons on eBay for a good price. All right, let's get back to it. My whole lineup is all out of sorts right now. Okay, I did the silvers. Last thing to work on before we get into the non-oil wash, which is where I think we'll end tonight, is the gold. For my golds, I love using Necro Gold, Metal and Alchemy from Scale Color. It's this terrific evil gold color. It's perfect. I'm not gonna put too much. I always make the mistake of putting down too much. And then the minute I do, my daughter starts screaming her head off upstairs. And I'm like, okay, this was a bad idea. All right, let's go out of display area, back to painting. I like the Sons of Horus. Their Horus Heresy range is grand, and their lore is so good. Yep, Sons of Horus is great. Their color scheme too is really nice. That sea green. You can do a lot with it. You can make it look like real gritty and weathered and industrialized. You can make it look clean. Thousand Suns, yeah. Thousand Suns have some great style, especially in the 30K. I'm always wondering, like, what do I paint these right here? These bits? I don't know if they're like paper, parchment tacked onto their like purity seals. I've seen them painted like in silver. I'm not sure. Sounds like coyotes outside. All right, thank you, Waylon. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Yeah, I always love when miniatures in an army have different color schemes for different specialist units. You're not just painting everything in the same boring color. All right, the one from the past, any other channel members in the chat right now? If you are a channel member of Warboss Studios, then let me know, what am I going to be painting this helmet as? What legion is going to be all Yoricked out in this guy's power claw hand right here? Look at that. This is such an awesome claw. Oh man, it looks so good. It looks like a little robot hand. The one from the past, I'm going to have to get a new AK Interactive Liquid Gold marker. Mine is running low. Yep, Liquid Gold is great. AK Interactive makes such great gold colors. All right, let me know, the one from the past or anyone else who is a channel member, what legion should I paint this helmet as? Chumblo, thank you for hanging out. Appreciate it very much. Thank you so much. I'll keep going. And you know what? Let's be, I don't know. I've seen it done in silver, but it just makes more sense to me to be like parchment. Iron hands, you got it, buddy. So we're gonna go with parchment, and then we'll do some writing. We'll do some freehand. Iron hands it is. I also like to do these. Some of them, they have like, you know, necklaces or weird fetishes and hanging like adornments. So I like to do them just in straight black paint. That's because there's so much going on. They're usually like bones or skulls, or like in this case, just a bunch of skin. So let's do them in black. Actually, I feel like it would stand up more if it's Imperial Fist. Ooh, okay. Hunt for my yellow. I like it. See, chat, one of the perks of being a channel member, live, on the fly, painting, choosing the direction of what I'm painting. Let's go. A little too much on my brush. It's definitely going to stand out more. Interesting style helmet too. So if you are interested in becoming a channel member, you just hit the join button on my channel by my name and join the club. I have to do a couple of thin coats of this yellow just to get the color laid down. All right, got these models in place of the normal 40k Chaos Termies, just so much more character. Replace the Volkite weapons with Storm Bolters. There you go, Ghosty. Yep. See, they could make so much more money if they were able to piggyback these Forge World models into the 40k game. Like, you don't have to have rules for Conticard Terminators, but it would be cool if they could have the same loadout. Like they wouldn't have to have Volkite weapons, but just give them a 40k equivalent so that Night Lords players can bring their Kantakar bad boys over into 40k. All right, we'll let this dry. We'll do another coat, and then we'll hit it with some Seraphim Sepia to give it some shade. All right, not bad. I don't think we need any more gold areas on this, so let's move on to the next guy. Yeah, I like doing these things in parchment color. All right, I like doing a test model. Gives you a feel for what you're going to be doing, puts it into your muscle memory. Then the trick is you don't spend as long with every subsequent miniature, right? You start trying to tighten it up, speed up the process. Ghosty, it also makes sense as a pattern of armor is the last things they had access to before the heresy. Yeah, I agree. Then gold. Look at this, my client glued a chainsword onto the end of his Volkite. Hilarious. Like I made an orc sniper once with a long rifle, and I gave him a bayonet at the end of it. I just think it's so hilarious. Put this close combat weapon onto your long range artillery platform. Afraid of messing up, Tony. That's the eternal struggle that all of us deal with, and you get over that pretty quick. Yeah, get started, Tony. Get started. And let me tell you this: the more you paint, the more that fear kind of just disappears, because every model you paint is like you getting better. It's a page in your sketchbook. You just get better every day with every model you paint. So I really hope you guys join the Great Crusade. Commit to painting some models before the end of August. Help us paint 5,000 models worldwide. This guy looks kind of funny. Oh, I hear my baby crying again. All right, guys. I'm going to jump off for a second. Hopefully I'll be back. Cross your fingers. Second time's a charm. Bonjour. think she settled. It's rough, you know. My family were trying to sleep train our girls. My son is pretty good now at being down the whole night, but when he was a kid, when he was a baby, even a toddler, he had a hard time staying asleep at night. He would wake up in the middle of the night, kicking and screaming, and we figured out it's because he was in pain from his like growing pains. He's just growing so fast and so big. And we felt like we had no control over helping him stay down to sleep. And now we're kind of going through the same thing with the girls. But it's getting better. All right. Oh shoot, did I get the joints? I always forget these, the knee, behind the knee joints. I find this is always like an interesting place to paint your metallic trim color. Knees and elbows, knees and elbows. I'm eyeing the Kill Team starter set. All right, Marines versus Nurgle soldiers. Yes. Yeah, they look great too. You can see it all on the Discord. If you guys join the Discord, links in the video description, you can see the one from the past has this huge amount of miniatures. Like unbelievable amount. And they're all different sizes. All Death Watch though, right? Is that right? The one from the past? You're doing them all in your black Death Watch colors. Anyway, it's like really inspirational to see. I've never painted knights, but it's tempting me. The thing I like about like knights and tanks and bigger machines in general is that it's a larger canvas to paint off. Basically translating all of your skills as a painter into these larger size minis. Necrons. Dominus the First is crazy. Yeah, you know what, Tony? I like your choice of the Kill Team starter set because the two armies, the Space Marines or the Death Guard, they're so different in terms of like painting skills. So you're gonna build your skill set by painting both of those. Either go with the box art and do Ultramarines and Death Guard, or you can switch it up and do like you could do Death Watch, you could do a different chapter, right? I don't think it's Ultramarine specific, if I'm correct, if I'm not mistaken. For the Kill Team starter box, I think you can paint them. I don't know, I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that, because I say that and then they could all have like Ultramarine sculpted shoulder pads and You know, it's funny. One of the things that kept me off from painting these guys was on the Gorget here on their neck armor. They have these weird cathedral looking, like metallic details. And I was so intimidated from painting them. Then I realized, you know what? You can just take the flat of your brush and do like a dry brush effect where you just drag the brush with the paint along the detail, and then it paints it. It lays down the paint for you. You don't have to worry about painting every individual stem, we'll call them. Here, let me show you guys what I mean. So right here along the front, right in front of his helmet, just take some paint and wipe most of it off except for the flat side. Then you're just going to turn the model and lay down the paint on the raised detail parts. Quick and easy, and you don't have to worry about painting every single individual stem and having your hands cramp from focusing so hard on one tiny little detail that nobody's probably going to even notice anyways when they're looking at it. Oh, here's my power sword, boy. Look at that gold detail, so good. I was thinking of doing a painting guide for this unit, but I was like, you know, it's so different. Every model is so different. I'd have to do a painting guide for every single model. They're all like kit bashes and conversions. You know, let's do the whole thing in gold. That looks better. Ah, these Volkite guns. But yeah, the one from the past, as soon as I am able to get the funds together, then I'm going to be buying at least a box of Mark II Space Marines. But hopefully the whole Saturnian box. I made a joke that I was going to paint them all as Ultramarines, but I had a good laugh. And then I was like, you know, I don't even know anybody that has painted Ultramarines. Maybe back when I lived in Hawaii, but here in California, I don't think I've met a single person in any of the gaming clubs that had an Ultramarines army, because everybody thinks that they're like, you know, boring and lame. They're the poster boys. They're on all the boxes. Oh, I gotta go up. Go up the chat. Casey, do you get all your paint from GW? Most of them. The reason why I paint with GW paints mostly rather than Vallejo and other better ranges is not because I think the ranges are better than Games Workshop, but it's because my channel, I get most of my viewers who come to see like how to paint certain GW products, right? Like miniatures. And so having Games Workshop paints makes sense because then it's available to everybody who's working on whatever models. If I said like, oh, now I'm going to switch over and for this gold, I'm going to use, gold is the only exception. I'm going to use metal and alchemy. Like this might not be available where you are. I know I got this on eBay. I think Amazon sold it for a while too. They had the whole metal and alchemy set. But I do think it's a better gold than anything Games Workshop has. Otherwise, I would just use Retributor Armor or Balthazar Gold, because I don't want to confuse my viewers. In this case, though, it's a color that I highly, highly believe in very strongly. Hear a lot of bad about GW here. Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. Where is the AK paint from? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I just know that I've been using this AK Metal and Alchemy gold paint for a while now. Yeah, many years. And they actually have, if you get the set, they have different golds that simulate the Games Workshop ranges, like their Elven and Dwarven gold are very similar to Retributor and Balthazar. But I remember, I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember this, but back in their old paint range, your gold, your only gold color was called Shining Gold. And it did not go on well. Like as soon as you put it on the miniature, it would spread and become almost transparent, and you would see the color underneath it pretty obviously. So what you would have to do, or what I've found worked the best for me, was I would take a brown color, like Mournfang Brown or Steel Legion Drab, the equivalent at the time, and I would paint that onto the area first, and then I paint my Shining Gold on top of that. So when the Shining Gold inevitably like spread out over the brown paint, it wouldn't be as visibly noticeable. Oh, Spain, I didn't know that. I have 2 Ultramarines in my Deathwatch army. That makes sense. Yeah, what would be the cheaper option? The cheaper option is actually going to be Vallejo, because they come in dropper bottles like this, not these terrible, horribly designed Games Workshop pots. In fact, oh man, the old Games Workshop colors would come in these like I don't know, remember if they're plastic or glass bottles where you would unscrew the top, but these, because they're pop caps, air gets caught in them if you don't seal them all the way shut, and then this causes the paint that's in there to dry out. So you think you're fine, and you go to paint something, and you open the lid, and your entire $8 investment, because that's like what these paints cost now, is down the tubes. They're gone. And Games Workshop used to be pretty good about like refunding people. If you say, oh, I opened my paint pot and it's all dried inside, what's up with that? They used to be pretty good about refunding you. I don't know if they still do that though. So my solution is, for a color like black, Abaddon Black, you could spend $8 on a pot of Abaddon Black, but what you could also do is go to your Walmart, Target, or any craft store and get a giant honkin' tube of Mars black paint or whatever they call, and you have like the equivalent of 4 pots of Abaddon black, and you only use a little bit every time you pop that bad boy open. And black, like white, I would also do this for white paint. It's always going to be the same color. Like there's not going to be a variation on black. Straight black paint is always going to look the same. So you don't have to have and be painting with an $8 tub of Abaddon black. You can save that money and donate that $5 you saved to Warboss Taste Studios. Oh man. I used to say that, like, hey, if I've saved you any money with my tips, I hope you consider donating the savings to my studio. Help a guy out. I want to get that new Saturnine box really bad. You know, something really crazy. I went to, I called my game stores today and I was like, hey, do you have that new Saturnine box that Games Workshop just released? And they're like, oh, let me check. And all the stores I called had like at least 3 boxes. I was like, really? It hasn't like disappeared during the pre-orders? So I guess apparently it's not as popular as other games. Which I guess is good because it means that maybe I'll get a discount. Let's do gold hooks. No, I don't want to do gold hooks. We'll do silver. What would be the cheaper option for the first time painting? Hey, but what are we painting? Coco, we're painting 10 Kantakar Terminators heavily converted for a commission for a client of mine. Yeah, sorry, Coco. I should have. I didn't read your message until now. Tony, should I mostly buy some bases first and some oil? Okay, so are you planning on painting them according to the box? If you're going to do Death Watch, or well, I'm not sure if they're Ultramarines, because like Death Guard is all Death Guard, right? But are the Marines in the Kill Team box, are they specifically Ultramarines, or are they, can you paint them as any chapter? Do you guys know? Has anyone purchased the new Kill Team starter set with the Ultramarines and the Death Guard? Like if they're just generic Space Marines that you could paint them as anything, then I would say just find a Space Marine chapter you like. And the good thing about Space Marines is you could just buy a rattle can, like a spray can of whatever that chapter color is, and spray prime them that in that color. Like if you say, I really like Blood Angels, but I don't look forward to painting all the red base coats. Well, you could just prime them in red. Or if you want to be like extra fancy, prime them in black or gray or whatever you want your primer to be, and then do like a zenithal or an over like base coat of red. It's funny, like a lot of people I know, they poo-poo the idea of using like a spray can as your first coat of paint. Like they'd rather hand paint it or airbrush it. But I'm like, dude, why would I hand paint all of this extra armor and waste all of this like Macragge blue or Blood Angels, Mephiston red, right? Hand painting this red on when you can just spray it. knock out that base coat, like 80% of your work is done for you. Then you're just picking out the metallics and the trim and like whatever else. I'm a huge fan of using spray color primers in the rattle cans. You know, it's funny, when you batch paint miniatures, it feels like a grind at the beginning because you're only doing one or two things. And then after hours of work, you sit back and you look at what you worked on and you're like, I don't feel like I did anything. I don't feel like I painted anything. But at a certain point, it's like you get to the top of the mountain and then it's all downhill. And you realize all these miniatures that you were grinding out, like all the simple but tedious little bits for, that they actually look really nice once you start adding the shades, the washes, everything else. Then you start doing the highlighting, and before you know it, you're adding lightning bolts, transfers, and your miniatures are done. Okay, what was I doing? I was doing, oh yeah, parchment paper. On the box, they're blue. Yeah, that's right, Tony. They are ultramarines on the box. But I'm wondering, Nick the Salamander, what's up, brother? It's cool, but as the Night Lords came back into shot, looks great. Yep. So, Tony, I asked because some models have their like very specific chapters sculpted onto them. So if the box has them painted in blue, but if they are like what we call generic Space Marines, like you could paint them in any army color, basically, and give them whatever transfers you want to show that they belong to that army. But yeah, I know on the box they're painted as blue Ultramarines. But if you don't like blue Ultramarines, if you'd rather go with green Salamanders or red Blood Angels, or you want to paint them black, like Raven Guard or Iron Hands, waiting for the basing material to dry, then I can add 6 modules to the Greater Crusade. Oh, nice. The Great Crusade is heating up, boys and girls. See what I'm talking about? Like, I feel like this is very tedious work for me, doing all the gold trim. But once all this gold is done, then I move on to the Nuln Oil, and then it's like, yeah, it's literally like downhill. Everything is pretty much gonna be finished. Then I can call this job done, get paid cash money, move on to the next thing. If you guys are interested in commissioning me, I am a commission painter, and a lot of my stuff is on eBay. If you just look up Warboss Tay, or I don't know if I put Warboss Tay Studios, whatever my eBay shop name is, you can see some of the things I've been painting, mostly Horus Heresy stuff, because I have so much Forge World I need to paint up and list. I have like literally bins and bins of stuff that as an adult, I spent my hard-earned money before I had kids, really. Back when I should have thought, maybe I'm gonna be having kids with my wife and maybe I should save this money. Nope, I'm gonna buy all this Forge World stuff. Now it's sitting in bins and it's waiting to make a return on their investment, because if I can paint them up and sell them on eBay for a good profit, then my wife will be very happy. And you know what they say about happy wives leading to happy lives. I don't know how old you guys are. You don't have to tell me, but every time I paint and I get on a stream and I think about the man I used to be, the young man full of hopes and dreams, painting his first armies, his first miniatures. And I remember thinking like, oh, I can't wait to just spend all this money getting Warhammer stuff and all the new kits and all the new releases they're hyping up. And I used to hear this a lot, especially from my theater friends that I did theater with. They would say, just live life, enjoy yourself. You can't take it with you. If you work hard and you don't play, like it's all gonna still be here. You're gonna die and you can't take it with you. And I used to be like, yeah, that's right. You can't take it with you. Work hard, get the stuff you want. And then when you leave, it's all good. But it's funny, when you become a father, that statement is so true. You cannot take anything with you. And I found that an added wrinkle to that is because you can't take anything with you, you have to do what you can to make life good for the people you leave behind. And that really hit me pretty deep. I was like, I can't take anything with me. I got to make sure that when I shuffle off this mortal coil and I go to the Hall of the Ancestors, that I have enough saved up from my endeavors, my time here on terra firma, to make sure that my wife and my children are taken care of. So I see that, and then I look at all of my Forge World stuff in bins. Check this out, guys. Most all of this stuff here is like Forge World or like kits that I purchased off of like Kickstarters or things that I've been meaning to get to and just haven't. Deathcore of Krieg projects that I started and didn't finish, things that I want to paint up and sell on eBay. So this is my Grey Crusade. These bins are my Grey Crusade. I did a video about having an organized workspace, but all around me, I'm surrounded by bins full of unpainted Forge World and Games Workshop. I've got like the paints that I'm going to be using down there, the paints that I have up here that I'm working on. And for me, the struggle is getting these models painted as fast as I can, not because I want to, not because I want to play with them, but because I gotta get them up on eBay so that I can sell them. Because once I sell them, then the kids can go into a nice school. My wife doesn't have to stress out about money. And best of all, I can stay at home, raise my family, not have to go back to a job that I really don't like. So that's my dream. That's my goal in life, is to make enough money, not just painting, but doing YouTube, sharing my knowledge of like 30 years as a painter so that I can help other people in their painting journeys and then be successful. All right, we're looking at parchment now on his leg. Okay, Carter, good night. I'm gonna be buried with my miniature like the ancient pharaohs that would protect me. Oh, nice. Oh, Tony, excellent. I'm glad you did that work, man. I am glad you did that work. Went out, looked it up, good. They are generic Marines. That means you can choose from 9 first founding legions that are now chapters, or there's like any number of successor chapters that you can paint your Marines as. This is good. This is really good because you don't have to shell out the investment of like a huge starter set like Leviathan, like the 10th edition starter set. You can buy this Kill Team box and get practicing painting and learning skills that are going to help you to expand your army, and you're not going to feel overwhelmed by having like 50 miniatures that you may never get to. That's really good. A Kill Team is perfect for your first foray into miniatures painting. So now what I would do is just find a chapter that you like the color scheme for. And because you're pretty much a new painter, don't worry about like how something looks, if it looks too hard to paint or whatever. There are so many guides and channels dedicated to making the painting aspect of the hobby as painless and fun as possible, myself included. Like the thing that makes me super happy, my most rewarding feeling, is when somebody writes a comment and says that they watched one of my videos, or they used to watch my videos back in the day to help them learn how to paint. I think it was mostly like Ogre Kingdoms and Vampire Counts and Empire. Those are my big popular playlists. But yeah, that feeling is such a good feeling, because you're learning skills that you can translate to any army, to any game, really, not just Warhammer, but if you want to get into any kind of miniatures game where you have to paint the models, like you're putting in the reps right now by painting just a kill team of Space Marines, you know? All right. Do you have any 30K Salamander stuff? I do not yet. This one looks too sick. Yeah, he does. I like the term Gray Crusade. Sounds so much better than Pile of Shame. You know, I feel like somebody else probably said Pile of Potential before I did. I just can't find who first coined it, but I think that's a way better way of looking at it than Pile of Shame. Pile of Shame means that you don't want to acknowledge it's there, and you're ashamed of it. So like you ignore it, right? It's kind of like piled up in the corner. You don't want to deal with it, so it's going to live there. You're not going to worry about it. But Pile of Potential means that it could be anything. You could paint that up, you could play with it, you could trade it, you could sell it. It's potential, and that's what I've got. Bins and bins, a garage full of potential. And I think that's the best way to look at it. Of course, like psychologically, if you call it a pile of shame, I think Henry Cavill called it a pile of shame on Jimmy Kimmel, where he said he painted one Adeptus Custodi, and then he asked, oh, do you paint all of them? Then he mentioned that he has a pile of shame. But like, yeah, my goal with this Gray Crusade is to banish the gray. We're gonna get rid of all the gray that we can. Everything in your pile of shame, pile of potential, however you want to look at it, this is the summer to do it, man. We're gonna get motivated. We're gonna get the things we need. If you need paints, if you need brushes, you're gonna get geared up, and you're gonna go on a crusade with me, boys. And at the end of August, and girls, we're gonna have fully painted armies. It's gonna be awesome. You could always make a homebrew chapter as well. That's true, Tony. I will buy it today, thank you, and I'll look up what I like. Yeah, slay the gray. We're gonna slay the gray. We're gonna crush those piles, obliterate them, make them no more. I love that. I love that. I love hearing from someone who's just starting out in the hobby, who's gotten like their first box and is like taking their first steps into the madness. Like it is dark and full of terrors, but it's also fun. I think we're a great community. You get some jerks, but I mean, overall, with anything, right? With any community, with any kind of online community, you're gonna have your outliers. But I found generally our community is so helpful and encouraging, and like more than any other community, like you don't see a lot of people that are truly negative, because it's a social game. Warhammer, painting, the stuff that we do, it's like a social experience. So if you are a jerk and you don't treat people good, guess what? You're not going to have fun in the game. You're not going to be a part of the game. I know that's the ideal for most communities and fandoms, But I feel like in Warhammer, it really is true. Or painting miniatures, I'm not going to say Warhammer. Where my War Machine play is at. Malifaux 3rd edition. I don't know if you guys play or collect or have seen Malifaux. Malifaux 1st and 2nd edition had such great, scary, like terrifying sculpts. Really, really awesome looking. And then Malifaux 3rd edition, like everything looks so cartoony. It rubs me the wrong way. I have a ton of Malifaux 2nd edition stuff that I never, again, it's in my pile of potential. And yeah, I was thinking about getting back into it because I was like, oh, Malifaux's still around. And it's in a 3rd edition now. I'll check it out. And it used to be like risque and sexy and like horrifying looking. And now it's become more, I think the aesthetic is a little bit more cartoony. So we'll see. If it ever goes back into the horror side of it, then I might get back into it. But right now it's not my style, baby. Do you remember your very first chapter that I painted? I think Loyalist, I did a commission of Blood Angels. Yeah. And I think the commission was mostly like scouts. And then some, at the time they were called just tactical squads. And I'm trying to think back, what have I painted? I know I did some Iron Hands. Most of the stuff I'm thinking about that I painted were like commission work. Because I've never had like a real Space Marine army. I used to really love Imperial Guard as an army. Or I guess Astra Militarum. I'm not using my painting handle. I'm kind of going commando because I want to just knock this out. I love, man, painting with these golden maple brushes makes it so much easier. Let's do gold halos. I used to have, I'm gonna have to repeat that now for all of my guys. I used to have these Vallejo brushes. Vallejo precision brushes. And they were my like workhorse brushes. I used them for everything. And I thought, oh yeah, these are fine. They didn't have very good detail though. So like I would have to really concentrate on painting eyeballs and doing freehand. And when Golden Maple reached out to me to be an affiliate, I was like, yeah, okay. I've used their brushes before. I thought, okay, they're pretty good brushes. But I haven't bought them or used them in a while, since maybe like 2-3 years ago when we were living at our first place in California. So I said, okay, send me some samples and I'll talk about them on my channel. And holy cow. Like just this size 2 brush, I can do so much with. And then this one I'm always talking about, this size 2/0 detail brush. It's like so good for doing little details. Lightning bolts. I'm gonna be doing all my lightning bolts with them. All right, let's take a look at the lineup. They're looking pretty good, boys and girls. They are looking pretty good. We are just about finished with all of the base coats. Just got the leader here to do. Death to the false emperor. Yeah, the size of your brush definitely matters. And I thought I could just, I could hack it with my Vallejo, whatever size brush I was using. But it's funny when you use the correct tool for the correct job, all of a sudden it's like, I get it. This is why they tell you to use a wet palette or a size 2/0 detail brush. So if you guys want to get it, the set that I'm using, it includes 4 detail brushes and 3 dry brushes of different sizes. And you can check the link in the description. It'll take you right to the set that I'm talking about. And use my promo code to get 10% off. My promo code is WART, W-A-R-T, which at first I was like, that's the worst promo code I've ever heard. Please, Golden Maple, don't make me use that. And then I thought, you know what? It's pretty funny. Like, I guess because they're a Chinese company and they wanted to abbreviate my name, War Boss Tay, into something that was like short, like 4 letters. And I was like, why couldn't it be War B Tay or Boss, or why does it have to be Wart? And now I think it's hilarious. And I'm like, I have the best promo code out of any product I've ever heard. Wart. I used to think before we had kids, I think this is Tiburos the Red Wake. I think this is his lightning claws because it's got shark fins on the lightning claws. That is hilarious. My client has like so many. Oh yeah, and the chainswords in the hands. That's what Tiburos the Red Wake has. Lightning claws with chainswords. What kind of insanity is that? Yeah, and the studded shoulder pads. My client is a mad scientist with all of these conversions. I never would have thought, I guess I could have, given me enough time, I would have thought, you know whose lightning claw would look pretty cool on a Night Lord's character? Tiburos the Red Wake. Would look pretty awesome. I'll bling him up. How do you do commission? Do I build the models and send them to you? Or do you buy, build, and paint? I was just about to ask if that's Caradon's arm. Yep, I know. It's funny, right? Looks like a shark fin. So Nick, the way I do commissions is if you have the models already, you bought it, but you realize you can't paint it, you could send them to me. You could ship them to me in California, and then I would take the purchase price of the model off. Or I would, if you say you want an Emperor's Children army box, but you don't have it, I would add that price into the commission. So I would have to go out and purchase it, and then it would be the purchase price of the box, and I would add the assembly cost into the price of the commission itself. So it all depends, like, do you want a tabletop quality army like I'm doing for this client right here? Do you want a really high tabletop? I could give you my best quality. Of course, it's going to take a little bit longer. And it's all stuff you could just decide what works for your budget, and we could talk about it on email. And yeah, send me an email. If you're interested in commissioning me, I have open slots right now. This is really the last thing I have on my plate as what I call a scheduled, like a client commission. And then everything else I have that I'm working on is just going to my eBay store, or things that I'm painting because I want to do it for YouTube. So this is the only thing I have on the docket right now. If there's something you want me to paint for you, you can reach me at warboss all one word, at gmail.com. Hey, my headcanon is that the Carcharodons are hybrid gene seed of Raven Guard and Night Lords. I like that. It's a good theory. That's a very good theory. I love the Carcharodons, just their whole vibe. They've got like the bloodthirsty savagery of like world eaters, but the terror tactics of the Night Lords. Sometimes they're stealthy, and sometimes they're sneaky with their ambushes and stuff, and sometimes they're just full-on lunatics. So like Raven Guard, everything. You could say they could be like, yeah. That's the good thing about these later chapters after the first founding, is like you really could make up headcanon for most of them, where they're not very specific about where their gene seed comes from. Hey, War Boss, what are we painting today? Don Pingle, we're painting 10 Night Lords Kantakar Terminators. We want to get them up to this guy. Bonjour! We want to get them up to this, but it looks like today we might only be getting them painted up to the washes. So I think I've given them enough time to dry. We're gonna do last looks, make sure we haven't missed anything, like this elbow in gold, knees, elbows, knees and toes. All right. Awesome, thanks for the information. Yep, anybody, if you want to commission me, it's warbosstastestudios@gmail.com. A bit short on cash right now, but after I get my Jeep fixed, I'll look at getting a commission. So that'd be great, man. Yep, that would be awesome. What I always say is take care of what you got to take care of, and then, yeah, always make sure that you're good and your family is good. And then you can devote all the rest to the hobby. Prioritize. My favorite part is actually this next step. I like to use known oil as a shade, as a wash. I think it's I remember when I first got back into the hobby, they had just released the first run of washes. Before then, everybody just would teach you how to highlight and then maybe glaze, but nobody really cared about like creating any kind of wash or depth in your miniatures. And then known oil came out, and Agrax Earthshade came out, and the whole game changed. Now with Night Lords, I like to use known oil. I think known oil is perfect for them. You could add in some Agrax Earthshade, but Agrax Earthshade is such a dark brown. I think the straight black of known oil is really where it's at for Night Lords. And for these, like the skulls and the bones and stuff, known oil is perfect. Oh, daughter's crying. All right, guys, I'm gonna try to see if I could put her down. Oh, right when I was getting to the washes. And then I will come right back. Zoom out a little bit. Hopefully I can get her to fall asleep, sing her some lullabies, and be right back at it. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. right, War Boss Tay, Super Dad, back at the table. Take off my daddy hat, put back on my painter hat, and let's paint these Night Lords. All right, this is a golden maple size 4. It's the largest brush in the combo set that I've got on my linked in the description. That master set is gonna be 10% off if you use the promo code WART, W-A-R-T. Thanks, Nick. Holy cow. All right, here we go. Now I find when using non-oil, it's best to just have the attitude of, you know what, it is what it is. Just let it go everywhere, because we're going to be highlighting all of these things back up, the skin tones. That's why I didn't do the Cadian flesh tone yet. I was debating whether or not to, but I was like, you know what, we're gonna drench everything in known oil. And yeah, I remember that's what I was talking about. So when the washes came out, known oil and Agrax Earthshade, it became almost like comedic how much people would use them on their miniatures, right? Oh, you know what I forgot? The Volkite. I forgot to do the wires in Rune Lord Brass. I'm gonna have to go back and do that. What are you guys thinking of all the... Man, Games Workshop has been coming out with models like hot and heavy. I feel like we were just hyping up the Space Wolves release. The new Logan Grimnar and Arjak Rockfist. New models all the time, Games Workshop. Yeah, that's good, but oh boy, give me a minute. Give me a minute. I can't afford anything. Unlike Nick the Salamander, I got too much stuff I gotta pay for before I can worry about anything hobby related. All right, now here is the trick with using known oil effectively is all the parts that it would naturally pool, you want to spread it out. Make sure it doesn't pool there. So here at the bottoms of the leg armor, anywhere in the torso. Always make sure you don't let your washes pool. Actually, remember the first washes were not called known oil and Agrax Earthshade. They were called Devlin Mud and Badab Black. That's what we used to use. And that stuff, when it dried, it didn't dry glossy like this. It would dry pretty matte. And Lord, I miss that stuff. A pot of Devlin Mud and known, not Badab Black, were key. And where's my Rune Lord Brass? With my big tub of paint. Here we go. All right, Coco, have you tried the paint pens yet? You know who has the one from the past? Warboss Daddy. I didn't say it, man. My daddy hat. Yeah, the one from the past has been using the AK pens, right? I've been using the trim because it used to annoy the out of you, but they make it so much easier. Yep, Coco, the one from the past, loves the AK interactive markers. I'm relieved that a lot of the Marine combat patrols are kind of meh. Will save me money. I know. I saw that Grey Knights combat patrol, or that battle force for the Grey Knights, and I was like, womp womp. Won't be spending money on that. Poor Grey Knights, man. We have all this Grey Knight stock. We gotta get rid of all of it before we do a big range refresh. So let's just throw it all in a big special edition Battle Force thing. Oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, I forgot. I did a Grey Knights commission. I didn't ever do the Baby Bjorn, but I had a local client back in Hawaii who commissioned me to paint up a bunch of the Grey Knights, just the infantry. I don't think I did any Terminators for him either, but I remember they were so much fun to paint. And they were so easy back in the day. Just do the silver and then do a glaze of blue. I think I used Drakenhof Nightshade. I didn't think to use like a Gilliman blue glaze. So it came out a little too dark blue for my taste. Fantastic. Yep, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a range update. Isn't that crazy? We're right around the corner from 11th edition. I feel like we just came out with the Leviathan box. Now you can't even find it, the Leviathan box. You have to go look on eBay and pay $399 for it. I still have my Indomitus box, the Space Marines and Necrons. That's what I mean. Everything's happening too fast. Too many releases. The Space Wolves one actually looks pretty good, but the Combat Patrol, I don't know about the Combat Patrol with the Wolfen. Wolf. Fisch da Wolfen. Okay, you know what? I gotta do the Rune Lord Brass before I do any more known oil. Kind of want it to look like copper wires. And then, oh yeah, the Emperor's Children. That was a big release that came out pretty recently. It inspired me to go out and get from Binks a bunch of Warhammer 30K Emperor's Children. So I've got like the Cacophony, the Palatine Blades, the Phoenix Terminators. I've got a Fulgrim, all in the bins, waiting to go. And I think I mentioned earlier like how I hate assembling now. It's another good thing for a little added charge. Binks puts them together for me, and it's like I don't have to worry about pieces snapping and breaking off, and I can just think about painting them when they get here. And then Horus Heresy version 3 dropped today. It's Saturnine box. I want it so bad, I just can't afford it right now. I gotta sell some stuff on eBay and make some more commissions. Get some more channel members. Thoughts on the Horus Heresy Demon Primarchs? I love the Horus Heresy Demon Primarchs. Fulgrim with those giant wings. Angron looks fantastic. I don't think they did a Mortarion yet, did they, for Horus Heresy? But like everything, like you can't find anything on the Games Workshop website. Everything is temporarily out of stock. Just like all of the Forge World kits. It sucks. I think most of their Primarch range is actually pretty good. Starting, man, going back all the way to Angron at the beginning was so good. All right, you know what I'm gonna do while I'm waiting? I am going to color all of the bases black. So again, using my $3 tub of Mars Black. So my client had already started basing some of these, but because it's weird, like the models weren't painted, but some of these bases were already textured with some tufts on them. So I was like, if I gotta assemble these minis, so I'm gonna have to spray prime the base over what you've already done. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. That's good, man. I can't wait to get this done. Having painting your own miniatures and seeing the finish line, it's a great feeling. But when you're working for commissions and you can see that finish line, it's such a good feeling. But you train yourself, you train your brain. Like all of the miniatures that I painted leading up to this point is kind of like they pave the way for you. You know, they make you feel like, okay, you can do this. You got this. Shoot. Drop my paint handle. I hope that doesn't wake anybody up. You guys want to hear something funny? When I was a kid, I drank a lot of soda, like Coca-Cola. And when I was growing up into adulthood, as I was getting into the workforce, and I would still drink soda for breakfast, like with my Happy Meals, my breakfast meal, my Egg McMuffins. I would drink Coke, right? And everybody around me was starting to drink coffee in the mornings, but I would still drink my Coke with ice, and I didn't want to drink anything hot in the mornings. I don't know why. I feel so silly looking back on it now. But I used to teach at a high school, like a private high school back in Hawaii. And one day, I just tried coffee for the first time. And I don't think like I slept at all that night. And I graded all my papers, and I got like my lesson plans for the next week all going, and it was like a revelation, my first cup of coffee. Because before then I was like, coffee's for old people. I don't need to drink coffee. And everybody that drank Starbucks was just drinking like the frappuccinos and all the flavored stuff. So I never really got into them. But yep, the first time I tried black coffee, I remember too, I was in the teacher's lounge and I was just feeling swamped and wiped out. And one of the other teachers asked if they could make me a cup of coffee. And I was like, well, I don't really drink coffee, but yeah, okay, I might need a cup to get through the afternoon. And whoo, I was halfway home before I realized I wasn't even in my car, going 80 down the freeway. I was like, coffee is the best thing. I love the building parts of that park. Works out great. Blood for the Blood God player hobbies. Yeah, it's funny, like I always, because I grew up drinking soda in the mornings with my Egg McMuffins when I was like in high school and stuff. And like nobody drank coffee in high school. Like I'd always drink a cold drink with my hot Egg McMuffin with my hash brown in the middle. So I just got used to the contrasting temperatures of the cold drink with the hot sandwich. To the point where in the mornings, it just was natural for me to have a cold drink instead of a hot one. Chat is empty, player hobbies. There's 23 people hanging out, lurking, watching me paint these Night Lords. A couple people talking, but mostly we're just having a chill night. It's a Saturday night. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Anyway, I think I tell that story now because I basically live off of coffee now. I'm just doing the base work, guys, because I want the Rune Lord brass that I just painted on the guns to dry. Then they're all getting known oil washes. And from there, ho ho ho, he he he, ho ho ho, we'll highlight the armor. We'll do some funky skin on the tabards. And then we'll do the lightning bolts last. I'm really proud of myself. I was not expecting to get this far. I usually feel like I get burnt out with these Kantakar Terminators just because there's so much detail on them. I usually feel burnt out by after doing like 10 minutes of work on them. But yeah, being in the chat, doing a live stream tonight has really helped me out. So thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna do my spiel while we do this step. Just your being here in the chat, I don't know if you know how YouTube analytics works, but I make it a point to study how to grow my channel and become successful on YouTube. And one of the things that I've learned is that the people just hanging out and watching you, even if they never interact more than hitting the like button, you're watching my stream right now, tells YouTube that they should broadcast it and send it out to more people. So just your being here is helping out my numbers. So thank you for that. And if you do feel inclined to support me with a like and a comment, even leaving a comment, following my channel if you're not already, that tells YouTube that my content is worth sharing, which makes me super happy because then they'll spread it to more people. And then more people who might not have seen my content otherwise, if you were not here to push me up the algorithm, would be exposed to my content. And that would be great because then it would grow my audience, give more people a chance to see what I'm doing. So thank you for that. And if you do want to support me even more, it was my birthday month. It's July. My lady boss and I were both born in July. My wedding anniversary is in July. July is a huge month for us. So if you'd like to help us celebrate this amazing month, then a super chat is always appreciated. But even more so, I would love it if you could become a channel member and support my channel by becoming a channel member. And then you could get access to all of the channel member only content, such as polls, extra posts, and all of the digital downloads on my Discord, which is linked in the description. All right, that's enough of that. Nick the Salamander, thank you. Membership's awesome. Woohoo! Hello, Player Hobbies. What are you painting? I'm painting a bunch of content card Terminators. Nick the Salamander, thank you so much for gifting that sub. That is awesome, my man. That is really, really awesome. All right, so that's cool. That's really cool. Ross, Jerry, you got a gift membership from Nick the Salamander. So welcome to the club, my friend. Welcome to the exclusive inner circle. And I can't wait to have you, Ross, Jerry, adding your voice to all of the voting, all of the extra content, Cat. And yeah, welcome aboard. Okay, I think all of that Runelord brass has had enough time to dry. So we're gonna slap some known oil onto this bad boy, onto the rest of the squad, rather. I remember when they changed the recipe from Badab Black to known oil. I was kind of on the fence. I was like, the old Badab Black, it was so good because it dried matte. That's the thing that I love about it. I think I mentioned this before. Like Badab Black has this shine, known oil rather, has this shiny finish to it. And I'm still, well, I'm used to it. I'm not gonna say I'm not used to it, but I'm still missing that old Badab Black magic. I'm gonna give Games Workshop credit though, like the old range, and I'm talking about like the old paint range, it didn't have nearly enough colors, whereas this new range, any color you want in the rainbow, like you will probably find it in their catalog. There's so much variety in the colors now, whereas before it was pretty much, I don't know if you guys remember the old White Dwarf Masterclass articles. They gave you recipes for how to make paint colors that you could just get off the shelf now. They would tell, oh yeah, you do like 3 parts of blood red to 2 parts Leviathan purple to 1 part this dark brown color. And it's like, you had to be so precise with measuring in order to make the correct concoction combination. Now, really, you could just look at the catalog and be like, okay, what do I need? I need a purplish red that's slightly darker than Gal Vorbak, but not as red as Flesh Terror's red, but not as purple as, oh yeah, then you can find the color you want. Just go down the list. We are truly blessed with, like spoiled for choice now when it comes to paint. I don't know if you guys keep up with the Warhammer 30K Horus Heresy. I guess on Reddit they're having a laugh at all of the misprints, the mistakes, all of the typos they're finding in the Liber Space Marine book. Apparently there's a picture of a Salamander Space Marine in Mark II armor, or Mark III armor rather, and it is like copy pasted on top of an older picture, and they forgot to like delete the old picture. It's ridiculous. It looks like a 3-legged Space Marine, and it's just like the comments is so hilarious. Like all hail the 3-legged Emperor. My favorite is I'm right behind you, brother. So dumb. I love this. I think it's a power fist, but it's like a robot. It looks like a Terminator T800 hand. The detail is really nice. You've got the wires and the cords, the servos here in the knuckles. He's holding a helmet that we're painting it up as a Imperial Fists. And then here, the open part of the hand, it really looks like a T800, like in Terminator 2, where Arnold opened up his arm and you can see all the little servos in his arm. That's basically what this is right there. It looks so great. You add that to the rest of what's going on here. It's a whole lot of fun. I think that's the one thing I can say about Night Lords. They're never boring to paint. Like, they may be tedious, like with all of this extra skins and chains and skulls and bones, but they're always fun to paint. Like, I like he's got like butcher's cleavers and like steak knives, carving knives, just hanging from his waist. This is a man who loves his job. And when you love your job, you never have to work a day in your life. Slim Richard Night Lord, scariest legion, the legion I'd least like to meet in real life. Yeah, you know, as fanatical as the word bearers are, and as creepy, I would say, as the Emperor's children are, the Night Lords are pretty terrifying. There's a great story. I don't remember where it's from. I read it. I think I read it on Reddit. Somebody referenced it, and then they found the text about a Night Lord in the pre-heresy, where a Night Lord captain or whatever was meeting with an Ultramarines captain, and they were talking about this crusade that they were on, trying to get this world to join compliance, unification, all that stuff. And the Ultramarine was bragging about how their army, like the Ultramarines, like decimated so many millions of people and killed all these people, and it was such a glorious battle and all this stuff. And the Night Lord commander was just kind of listening, and then he like shook his head and he was like, it's a real shame. All that loss of life could have been avoided if you had let us take over this campaign, or if we were in charge. Like, it would have been so different. Like, we wouldn't have killed so many people. And the Ultramarine is, of course, like super offended, and he's like, "You, Night Lord, you're horrible. You're like a scoundrel, a villain, and have all these terrible ways of conducting war. It's so dishonorable." And he's like, "If you had let me take care of this, we would have gone down there. We would have like killed all of their celebrities. We would have decorated all of the public places with all the skins of their leaders, and we would have shown them that they got to join up, or else they're all going to meet the same fate, and nobody would have died. You would have saved all these millions of lives that you're so proud of taking. They would all be soldiers for the Crusade. They would have joined the imperial armies, and we would have been in and out of there without this grueling, crushing campaign that you subjected and forced everybody to." And I think my favorite line of that story was that the Ultramarine, he's like fuming, right? And the Night Lord commander says, "You suffer from the greatest sin of all." Like, sure, we're murderous criminals and we're terrible people. We're not even people, we're terrible Night Lords are terrible Space Marines and terrible creatures. But he said, "You suffer from the worst sin of anything that we do not suffer from. And the Ultramarine is like, yeah, what is that? And the Night Lord Commander says, you suffer from vanity. And I was like, man, that really hits. Like, the Night Lords, they know what they are. You know, they know that they're murderous, evil, terrible people. But they recognize too that the Ultramarine is so vain about how he goes about persecuting their wars, and like they take pride in the amount of people that they killed and all this and that. And the Night Lord's just like, I know how to get things done. Like, we know what people are afraid of. You give them what they're afraid of, and they stop fighting. You make them fear you, and they won't fight you. And you want them to fight you to the bitter end, and you want to grind them into compliance, meet them in battle, and have them like throw down their arms in despair after they fight you and realize that they're on the losing side. Like, you can skip all that. You don't need that. Just skin a few of them, wear their faces on your shoulder pads, and make a cloak out of their faces, and they'll be like, you know what? These people is crazy. We don't want to fight them. We give up. We'll join your empire. We'll join the Imperium. Oh man, that's such a great story. And there's like no action. It's just dialogue between, it's like a short story. It's just dialogue between an Ultramarine captain and a Night Lord captain on like a battle barge or something. They're looking out the window at this planet, and they're just comparing their tactics, right? And the Ultramarine thinks that the Night Lord is just the scum, absolute worst for all the terrible things he does. And meanwhile, the Night Lord is just, you know, you may disagree with our methods, but you cannot disagree with our results. And that's another reason why it's so sad. Like they were like doomed to be bad, to turn traitor, not to be bad. They were doomed to turn traitor because there's no way that they could have, I don't see any way that they could have remained loyal to the Imperium. Even the loyalist Night Lords, like some of us like to romanticize that there are some that remained loyal to the Imperium and to the Emperor, but like the Imperium wouldn't accept them, right? They would have either had them executed or stripped of their everything, their war gear, and their, like they couldn't be Night Lords anymore because the Night Lords had been declared traitors, and they couldn't go back to the Night Lords because they would have said, what do you mean you didn't, you remain loyal to the Emperor? And they would have killed them. So there was no way out for them. They were doomed to like finish what they started. I was reading like about the different legions, and I was like, is there a more tragic legion than the Night Lords? And you kind of think like, though, the word bearers, when they were Imperial heralds, they had all that time to weed out all the loyalist. Because sometimes on Reddit too, you see people who are talking about like, could there be loyalist word bearers that were maybe part of the Legion that didn't like the way it was going, that might have broken away and remained loyal to the Emperor? And pretty much that's impossible, because when Lorgar fell to chaos, I think it's kind of hinted at that he had decades to weed out who is still loyal, who couldn't be turned, and to have them pretty much sent on suicide missions or just quietly taken care of behind the scenes, so that the only people that would be left in his legion were those that would be loyal to him. And it's like, okay, every one of the traitorous legions, like you could have some kind of element of ones that remain true and loyal to the Emperor, but with the Night Lords, it's kind of impossible once the heresy is declared. I could see like world eaters being taken in and, you know, questioned and interrogated or whatever, and like you could still be useful. We'll put you in this unit of black shields, and you can still serve a purpose. But I really don't think like the Night Lords, with their ways of war and their ways of doing things, I don't think they could have done that. Oh man, I am missing all this chat, just painting away. Coco, there's a snippet in one of the books. A civilian is fleeing a Night Lord attack. They barely make it to local shelter, and when the door opens. Have you read Aaron Dembski? Oh yeah, Aaron Dembski Bowden trilogy is I think it's some of the best written 40K. Next to Dan Abnett's Eisenhorn and Beckwin trilogies, Ravener. I think it's some of the best written. I think some of the most enjoyable and the most fun would be the Caiaphas Cain stuff. But I think Aaron Dembski Bowden really gives the Night Lords he does them justice. He makes them more than just mustache twirling psychopaths that jump out of nowhere and take off your face. All right, the omnibus is so good. Made me build First Clause, a squad of chosen. Yep. Fair bit of humor in there too. Yeah, it is. I think all Astartes were doomed to go the way of the Thunder Warriors. That's interesting, yeah. I think the World Eaters and Angron is pretty tragic. Yeah, the World Eaters, Angron is pretty tragic. A loyal word bearer in Era of Ruin. Oh, really? I didn't know that, Slim Richard. Each chapter canonically has at least one named loyalist. Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate it. We're letting these 9 dry off after their little known oil bath. Any pooling areas like this one here, we'll go back over with. The good thing about Night Lord's armor is it's so dark. They are all in midnight clad after all. It's so dark blue that you can really go to town with the known oil, and it will hide some of your flaws, but you're going to need to do a little bit of blending once you get to the next stage. I think tonight, though, I don't know if I'm going to go any farther than this. I'm pretty happy with what we got so far. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys. You guys made this possible. It's because every time my daughter starts crying and I get to the room and I'm like, I gotta put her down so I can finish painting these Canticar Terminators. Did you see too the new, I was starting a little force of Black Templars, and I was really interested in the new Combat Patrol. And they went up for pre-order today, and lo and behold, they raised the prices of the Combat Patrols from $145 US American dollars to $170. I remember when the Combat Patrols were called Start Collecting, and like the whole point was that you get a variety of models for a great deal. And then when it came out to Combat Patrol, it was still a pretty good deal. And slowly, I feel like the deal part of it is becoming less and less of a deal, because 170 does not feel good. I gotta be honest with you guys. Paying 170 for a Combat Patrol doesn't feel good. The models are great though. And I think you're gonna get a lot of extra bits in the box. If you're a Black Templars player, you're gonna get a lot of bits in there to do other projects and other things. Templarify your minis. But 170 it's rough to ask for. I'll be honest, especially if you're like a curious player, but you're not, maybe you've already got some armies. That's the thing, they gotta make it appealing to those of us who have armies already, you know what I mean? And are a part of the hobby, and maybe we're thinking about getting into Black Templars, but having a good deal of a box is really like, makes all the difference. I don't know. That's just me. That's just what I think. If Games Workshop listened to me, they would have given me some preview copies of miniatures a long time ago, instead of making me wait. It's funny, sometimes I feel like if I don't paint, it messes up my whole my whole vibe for the day. And then it's like, all right, I'm done. Whew. I use Night Lord's Blue when I'm painting power swords. It's a great color. I love getting to watch painting and listening to lore while chilling. Thanks, Top of Shark. None of it feels like a deal anymore. Yeah, I know. One of my theories is that they raise the prices of the models so much they can't fit enough in to make a combat patrol and still give it a discount. That's true. I think that's a good point. Thank you, Warp Enigma. Slim Rich, I paint in short bursts. Sometimes I go weeks without painting. Yep, I've been there. I'm really trying to make YouTube a thing. Make my YouTube channel, like make a go of it, you know? And in order to make that work, I have to put out like 3 shorts a day. The shorts funnel people to my channel, and then I gotta start making more long form content, like reviews and unboxings and painting tutorials like I used to. And then hopefully that will get more people to subscribe. And it's just a never ending fight to hustle. Let's see what I can do while I have you all here. Is there anything else I can work on? These are Varigear Terminators for the Space Wolves. Patreon can help. Oh yeah, yeah. I do have a Patreon. It's funny. I've what I want to do is, like, I see a lot of painters on Twitter, especially, say, "Oh, a full tutorial on my Patreon." I like to give my full tutorials on YouTube though, and if I could give something on Patreon, I don't know what it would be. I think it might be like I wouldn't mind doing like recipe cards, but then I don't know. I have to study and check out other Warhammer painters who have Patreons and have made a success out of it, because I do want to incorporate that. Like I'm developing more merchandise. I'm going back to developing more merchandise, like T-shirts and hoodies, coffee cups with like different stuff from my channel on it. But yeah, I want to be able to give something back to my channel members, as well as all of the people who want to support me on just like through super chats and super stickers and Patreon as well. Short spells is good. Stops the burnout and life tends to get in the way. Yep, that's so true. Warp Enigma, it is 30K. I've got some Night Lords counter card Terminators chilling in the back. They just had a bath of known oil. I'm working on 4 Varigear Terminators right now. I want to get them up to this point. These are Space Wolves Terminators. They're going to have transfer work. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, look at that transfer on his gauntlet. Awesome. That's that too. Woo! Rune work. Ooh! Great models. Yep, I agree. Forge World 30K models, like, they're so good. In general, Forge World's quality is so good. And they continue doing such great stuff. They've been doing more Necromunda. I feel like Games Workshop has said, you know, why don't you guys get out of the 30K and 40K arena? Let us take over from here. You guys just do really awesome Necromunda models and kind of stay away from 40 and 30K now. Which sucks, because like all of the great Forge World All of the resin, like Space Marine specific troops, are like Forge World models. Games Workshop can't produce the plastic kits fast enough. I believe I already did all of the highlighting for the armor. So if you want to copy my recipe, it's basically like Mechanica standard gray primer, and then heavy dry brush of Dawnstone, and then a light dry brush of Administratum gray. I'm doing red for the shoulder pads. Then I'm gonna do, these are resin, yep. Then I'm gonna do some, I gotta do black for the top knots and black for the weapons. Let's move some of these guys out of the way here so we can see what we're doing. Hey, if you guys want a tip, my tip for avoiding burnout, or actually not avoiding burnout, but working through your burnout. Like if you really want to get an army painted, or if you have a deadline to get your armies painted by, I'm going to give you my time-tested, tried and true method for getting your models painted, even if you don't feel like it. All you have to do to get the motivation to paint your models, all you have to do, literally, once I discovered this, I never had a problem painting again, as long as you have a minute, and hopefully more, but usually a minute just to start this process off. All you have to do to paint any model in your army is to get the steps down of what you need to do, right? So don't pick up the model and not really know or have an idea and just kind of make it up as you go along. Like really have a roadmap of what you need to do in just this, in the next painting session, the next step. So for example, I know what I'm doing right now is I'm just painting the weapons and the top knots black, because these have to be black. And I'm also, now that I realize it, I'm going to paint the under armor black while I'm here. So that's all I have to. I don't have to worry about the gold, the silver. Say like I really don't want to paint these guys, and it's really a chore. It's a hassle. Like it's become a mental block for me to not want to paint these Varigear Terminators. All I have to do is have my roadmap. So in this case, black. What is being painted black? Right now that I know what I'm painting black, I just need to have my brush and my black paint. And this is the secret. This is this is the secret. You sit down, you pick up the model that you have to paint, you open the paint pot, you pour some out, or you take some in your brush and you put it on your wet palette. And you basically dip your brush into the paint you have to work with, so in my case, black, and that's it. You commit by dipping your paintbrush in the paint. And then your brain tells you, well, you have paint on your brush, you can't just let it dry and ruin your brush, so you gotta get the paint off. So you start throwing that black paint where it's supposed to go. And subliminally, your brain tells you, well, you've only put on paint for half of the thing. So get your paintbrush and put it in more black paint and we'll finish the weapon. Okay, so you finished the first thing that you need to paint black, right? And now there's still some paint on your brush. You're already sitting down at the table. So why not paint the joints in the armor? Because that has to be painted black. You're already here. You could hold off till next time, but why not? Then unconsciously, without you even knowing it, your paintbrush is gonna go back into that paint, because your eyes are gonna see the next thing you need to paint black, which is the top knot, right? And I'm going from my roadmap. My roadmap tells me the weapons, the joints in the armor, and the top knot all have to be painted black in this next step. So my paintbrush naturally just goes to the paint, and while it's still got some black paint on it, it jumps over to the axe. Now I'm tricking my brain so it doesn't give me a chance to say, you know what, we don't really have time, or we gotta do something else. Let's put down the paintbrush because we don't have time to paint right now. You're bypassing all of the resistance by knowing what the next step is and then just dipping your paintbrush into the paint that first time. It becomes autopilot. And then your brain, not having anything to do now that you've taken away the resistance, kind of shuts up and lets you work. All right, let's jump up these comments. Look, the known oil is almost drying on a lot of these content card terminators. I'm not gonna do any, I don't know if I'm gonna do any more tonight. I'm already at 3 hours. Holy cow. 3-hour live stream. 33 likes. 30 people in the chat. Something numerological. Something numerologically, that's it. Something numerologically significant about that, I think. All right. If I were to go for 30K, I would do Word Bearers or Iron Warriors. Yep, Iron Warriors are great. I love the Word Bearers color scheme too, and like the usage of the transfers in the runes. Slim Richmond, I'd go White Scars, or I would make the Ultramarine Roots to my homebrew 40K chapter. Nice. I have to non-metallic metal everything. Oh, Slim Richmond, are you serious? That must take forever. Oh, sorry to hear that, brother. Do you do any painting for an army that you have, War Boss? I do not. I don't actually, well, you know what? That's not true. I have a Vestroyan Firstborn army that is patiently waiting for me to get back to it and add more guys to it. What's your favorite Warhammer lore? My favorite is anything to do with Loyalist Night Lords, or Caiaphas Cain is great. Caiaphas Cain is a lot of fun. My favorite books are the Omnibus for the Night Lords, as well as the Eisenhorn trilogy by Dan Abnett, followed by Ravener, and then the Bequin trilogy. Nick the Salamander, Han. All right. So yeah, that's my tip to painting anything. And then now, at this point, what I've done was I've brought the 2 models that needed all the black areas painted. I brought them in line with the other 2. And because I painted a visually different part of these models, these red shoulder pads, my brain is like, it's snowballing. It's excited to continue painting them. So maybe before I finish, then I'm going to add one more color that's going to visually separate them from just having black, just being coats of gray. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the Rhinox hide to the fur. Today's actually my mother-in-law's birthday. So we're gonna go to dinner later tonight. So I might not be able to stream again. I'll just dry a bark instead. But I just want to say this was a great live stream. I had a lot of fun. Are you disappointed we still haven't heard anything about Decimus? Yes. I have a feeling like Aaron Dembski-Bowden was planning to write more about Decimus and break off and branch off, but I don't know if they just said, nope, you're getting too good. We need you to write other things so that other armies and factions will become popular. Ooh, thanks for the hearts. More hearts, more likes. More likes make me happy. And if you guys want to support me, then as much as I love getting the super chats, having you become channel members makes me so happy, because that means that you get to take part in my members only polls. You get to like respond to like my members only like videos that I post. I try to do at least 2 members only videos that are going to be worth watching, like content, tutorials, tips, reviews, unboxings, stuff like that. I want to be better about making at least 2 of those a month, so it gives added value to your membership. And yeah, that makes me super happy. So if you want to support my channel, buy yourself a membership, and that would really help me out, especially to continue making more content for everybody. Be a part of the inner circle. Thanks, Slim. Thanks for the sub. See you later. I'm off to the beach with my family, so thanks for a cool end of the stream. Thank you, Warp Enigma. Appreciate it. Have a great time at the beach. That was really cool of gifting that sub, Nick. That was really cool, man. Teach you how to dry brush Huel. Snorkeling time. All right. I'll teach you how to dry brush. First thing you do is get a dry brush. And you can get one, follow the link in my description, use promo code WARP, 10% off, WART, W-A-R-T. Once you have a dry brush, you wanna make sure that it's appropriately sized to what you're gonna be painting. I'm gonna show you the dry brushes that I'm using. So this is my favorite. It's a size 4 golden maple dry brush. And the only trick is you want to make sure that the paint isn't dried up inside the bristles, that it's like not as soft as when you first get it. I'll show you a larger one as an example. So when you first get a dry brush, it's beautiful. It's nice and soft. You can put the paint right on it, it'll glide on real nice and easy. But once the paint starts to dry, you use it for a while, it gets a little bit more difficult to return to that state of usability. So I just take my thumb and kind of massage it around. You don't want to do too much. You don't want to break the bristles. You did that? Okay, good. So once it's ready to go, right, you find the color that you want to use. And usually when you're dry brushing, you're layering on top of a color. Can you like wash it? Yeah, you can, but then it's not a dry brush anymore. So it becomes like a wet brush. But then you would just have to dry it again with a paper towel or something. So I find that when I start using my dry brush for a session, just gently nudging it, massaging it into usability works. Warm water. Oh yeah, warm water works too. That's right, Coco. I try not to put water on it. I prefer my brushes to be like really dry when I get started, so the paint is the only thing on it. Make sure you have a wet palette, because then you can get the paint usable. And I'll show you how I do it. Yeah, they're pretty. Okay, so here. I think he'll be the next War Master. Yep. So I'm going to use Dryad Bark as my dry brush paint, and just pretend that all of these fur textures are already like painted a darker color. So I'm going to take some paint out of the pot. I'm going to put it onto the wet palette here. Then I'm going to just dab the paint off, push it off until it's mostly gone. And if you want to see on my skin here, so we want your brush to be almost paint-free when you stop seeing the paint. And you could do this on a paper towel. You don't have to use your skin like I'm using. I just find it easier to see. So when you don't see as much paint coming off your skin, then you take your mini and you just dry brush the color on the area. And then it's going to create like this natural highlight that goes over the color underneath it. And if you have a wider surface area than what I'm working with, that'll help too. I'm not working with much of a surface area. The great thing about dry brushing is you can do multiple layers in multiple colors upwards. What I mean by that is my favorite dry brush is to use Rakarth Flesh over Dryad Bark. So I'm going to do the same thing where I wipe most of it off on my wet palette, then on my skin. I'm going to take it on this. It's ideally it would be a little bit drier, but I'm just going to take my Rakarth Flesh now, and if you zoom in, I'm going to dry brush it onto the raised surface. And you see how the color changes when you apply this color with the dry brush. The dry brush is just meant to catch the raised edges and lay down some paint on the areas that are higher than the others. Yeah, because the dried bark is still a little wet, it's gonna start mixing if you use too much. That's generally the idea. And then if you use it correctly, this is an effect of Rakarth Flesh on top of Dryad Bark. Look at that fur trim right there, boy. Yeah, boy. I use the back of my hand too. It has to be something to do with our skin pulling some of the moisture out too. Yeah, I think that's true. I think it helps you gauge better than just using like a former or like a foreign item like your wet palette. And then yeah, when you're done, just make sure you wash it clean and that you reset your dry brush by wiping it off and then doing the same thing. Just massage the bristles, because if you push too hard, you're going to break the bristles, especially for a dry brush. They're so densely packed in there that if you push too hard, you're gonna start pulling the bristles out. So you don't want the paint to dry in there, and you want to make sure that there's enough pliability so that it'll be easy to get started and started up the next time. It also gets any last bits of drops of paint out of there. Oops. So weird. I feel like the Space Wolves release just kind of came and went. There's all this hype about the characters. They did the huge box, and then it was like, okay, it's good. People were talking about, oh, they're gonna bring back Lehman Russ. They're slowly bringing back all the Primarchs. That didn't really happen. But yeah, having a roadmap is like the best thing when you're painting. I used to just go by instinct, go by emotion, just paint whatever I felt like it and let the wind take me. Now I'm like, I don't have time for the wind to take me anywhere. I gotta know where I'm going. I gotta have my map, gotta have my snacks. Just get in the car and go. It's funny though, like I never feel pressured to paint. Like I always thought, oh man, if I ever have to paint for money, it's gonna be the worst. I'm gonna feel like stressed out all the time. But I love painting. There's a part of me that wanted to buy these when they first came out, but I was young, I didn't have the money. And I purchased them, and now I have them. And now I want to flip them and make money with them, you know what I mean? And it's like such a great feeling to be able to say like that I have these Forge World miniatures. I painted these Night Lord Kantakars. I painted these Space Wolves, Varagir Terminators, and all the different Primarchs. And how many people can say that, you know? So I'm glad that I'm able to do it, and I'm glad that you guys are here for the journey. I want to make it worthwhile for you. I want you guys to have a good time watching me paint. I want to paint things that you enjoy. So if there's anything you would like to see me paint from any of the other legions, I have a ton of Thousand Sons, Word Bearers, Blood Angels, Death Guard. I think I got most every legion except maybe White Scars and Alpha Legion. I don't have much of that stuff, but if you want to see me paint anything at any time, just let me know. Whew. Yeah, I gotta finish painting all the fur. Oh, sounds like my daughter's up. So if you guys want to stay, we're going to do a grand wrap up in a little bit as soon as I get my daughter back down to bed. Or if you have to dig out, I understand that as well. I will be right back. players, I'm gonna sign off here. I gotta get my daughter back into bed, and then we are going to close our eyes for a little bit. Oh, it's okay. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and I will see you all in the next one. I hope you have a great day, great night wherever you are, and I will see you all in the next live stream. Don't forget to head to my channel, hit subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.